In my senior year at Harvard, I took the class Shakespeare. And I came up with what I thought was a cool idea for a paper. I would make sense of this odd minor character, Celia, in As You Like It, by reimagining her as a lesbian in love with the main character, Rosalind. So I went to my TA, and he said, no, you can't write about that. Homosexuality didn't exist in Shakespeare's day. Being gay is a modern invention. And I said, I don't think that's right, as I essentially heard him erase the lived experience of millions of same-sex loving people throughout history. And I wrote that paper anyway. And throughout Harvard, I used my time to study sexuality whenever I could. And mostly I was interested in, why is it that so many of us are suffering a little bit or a lot because of how our culture frames sexuality? What if we don't fit in the limited pigeonholes that society offers us? If we're gay, or even odder, bisexual or queer, or pansexual? What if our gender doesn't fit neatly into male versus female? What if we have a long-standing kink that harms no one and makes us feel fantastic and complete, but we can't find anyone to share it with? And so I found myself attracted to the medium that I thought reflected human sexuality, porn. I thought I would see a wide range of human possibilities laid out for me to consensually enjoy and become aroused by and learn something about myself along the way. That's not how it turned out. It was mostly made by dudes, and white dudes at that. It wasn't great. The subtleties of my body weren't catered to in the porn that I saw. There wasn't even any foreplay. And I liked my sexual relationships, so why couldn't I see them reflected in porn? So that's when I started Blue Artichoke Films, and I started making films with a collaborative feeling between the cast and crew, where we could capture genuine sexual chemistry between the performers by giving them a choice of lots of potential partners to pick from. I wanted to champion stories other than traditional romance. I wanted a variety of body shapes and races and types of handsomeness and beauty. And most of all, I wanted to capture the wonderful sense of play of sex, that anything is possible between partners who care about each other's pleasure. Was what I made porn? Maybe. I mean, I wanted to fascinate people and then turn them on. So to me, it was always porn. Some people said, oh no, it's just sexuality shown in a different way. Either way, I was happy people wanted to see it. And in the beginning, it was magical. People's reaction was even better than I hoped. Couples wrote to say that a film had improved their marriage. Women wrote to say they felt empowered and gratified to see women really enjoying sex on screen. Parents wrote to say they felt inspired to talk to their teens in a different way about consent. And I was prepared for discrimination by government regulations. And that's actually been okay. What I wasn't prepared for was the intensity of discrimination by private companies. It is hard as an explicit filmmaker to run a business and carve out attention the way that any regular business person can. I mean, even when I'm trying to be ethical and conform to the stated terms of service, I've been kicked off with no warning from YouTube, Vimeo, PayPal. I have been shadow banned by the film industry database IMDb so that you still can't find my page through regular searches. I'm forbidden from Netflix and iTunes and Amazon Prime streaming video, and still the easiest place to find my films is the Blue Artichoke Films website. And I understand that companies want to gain consent from their viewers before exposing them to explicit or unethical sexuality, but they have way overshot the mark. And let's face it, largely in favor of retaining their relationships with advertisers that keep those platforms profitable. And people of color and non-binary people have it much worse than me. TikTok admits that they downgrade the visibility of content from Black, fat, LGBTQ, disabled, and so-called unattractive content creators. Sex educators posting non-explicit content are regularly booted off of social media. The situation is pretty dire. Corporate censorship is shaping not only what we think of as attractive and what's normal when it comes to sexuality, but even who is allowed to exist. So what if as a culture, instead we embraced the principle of sex positivity? That sex is natural, that it's a big part of many people's lives, and that it's a potential source of great pleasure that doesn't threaten everything else, our ability to hold down jobs, our ability to have satisfying family lives, but rather gives us daily satisfaction. Is that so radical? And if we were to acknowledge this diversity of desire, we'd see that we have a need for information, for lifelong sex education, and we have a need for community, to find other people who are like ourselves, to feel that we're not alone, because we're not. We're diverse, we're engaged in the wholly understandable human enterprise of trying to create intimacy with other humans, and we are just fine.